obviously, as your kids get older, the freedom should increase. And one of the ways maybe to think about it is I think when your children are younger, you do need to be a little bit more rules based. Well, hello everybody. Good to see Grace, good to see you.
Hi, Kurt.
As always, with a
good
little
to
fist
see
bump.
you. Fist bump right there.
I said fist pump.
You said fist pump.
It's a fist bump. A fist pump is this, like, yeah.
Yeah, baby.
That's a fist pump. Woo woo. Fist bump is, hey, good to see you.
Fist bump.
Yeah.
Fist pump.
Gotta get those right.
All of them. Let's do it all.
The youngsters in our lives. You gave me Grace.
Oh, okay.
But if I said fist pump after doing a fist bump, like in front of your daughters, I might not recover. The humiliation would be strong.
No, you have such a hero image.
Oh.
With my daughters.
What?
Because the other day,
Yes.
my daughters really like Mr. Beast.
Oh.
And Kurt and Rachel, out of the kindness of their heart, brought over some Feastable chocolates, which is a product of Mr. Beast. We're not sponsoring this, by the way. I'm just sharing.
Yes.
And so they're just like, Uncle Kurt and Auntie Rachel are like the best. So, you could say fist pump, fist bump.
Doesn't matter.
Fist rump, whatever you want to say. They'll be like, that's cool.
That's awesome. This might be the only time in history that our YouTube show and Mr. Beast's YouTube show are mentioned in the same category. One has, what is he, like 250
Like
million?
a trillion,
He's number one.
trillion
He's number one
subscribers.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah,
Is he?
number one. And we are
That's incredible.
down, we are ranked well below that. Well below, but growing. We're gaining ground. We are, watch out, Mr.
It's
Beast.
about progress.
We're coming.
Yeah.
We're coming for you. Mr. Beast, he's looking over his shoulder. Hey,
Who's coming up behind
who's
me?
coming up? Those characters at that weird church in California. I've heard about them. All right. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Grace, Kurt, producer Chris in the corner.
Yay.
Producer Chris, you're looking good.
Thank you very much.
He's got such a good radio voice.
I know. You've got a good voice.
He does.
What makes it good?
I don't know. It's like
It's
it's kind of like gentle. Like the pitch isn't
Yeah.
so abrasive,
Yes,
but
it's
it's also
smooth.
not like so quiet you can't hear.
yes. Yeah.
It's like a really good
yeah,
tone.
it's a perfect
Say something.
range.
Say something.
I usually it's people that smoke a lot have that really
No, but
great
you're-
radio
No, it's
voice.
not
I've
raspy.
You're not-
I've never smoked.
You're not
in my
raspy.
life.
No, no,
The
it-
difference is you're not raspy.
Okay.
It's clear.
Raspy's kind of like this. Hey, guys. Hey, everybody.
That's a really good.
Go outside for a smoke.
That's a really good.
Well,
Impersonation
I do
of a
impersonations.
raspy.
I don't do impersonations.
I was gonna say, do you?
No,
Because
I
we'll
don't.
need
I
to
don't.
weave that into future episodes. No.
I do. Here's what I would say. I do voices, but I don't do impersonations.
Okay. So not specific to
Correct.
somebody,
Correct.
but you could put on a character.
Yes.
Okay. We'll have
Give
to
me
weave
a
that
give
in.
me a smoky middle-aged guy. What? Smoky middle-aged guy. Hey guys, gotta work it out.
Something like this
That's
you're looking for.
Oh wow.
wow.
Or maybe something like this. No, this is like echoey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Yeah. This
Oh,
is
that
like
was
you're
good. I like
on
that.
Star Wars, trapped on a ship,
That first one felt
like also like
a
Star Wars.
little bit demonic almost. Like the first one gave me the heebie-jeebies.
What about if I did my robot voice?
Yeah, I like that one. Okay, right. Enough of that. We're trying. You guys.
I could do a higher voice too. I'm sorry.
Producer Chris, stop.
You started this though,
I
Kurt.
know,
You started this.
But we've made a commitment, I thought,
to be focused.
to do a little less
Weird.
nonsensical rambling.
Oh, the people like that, I guess.
Which do they
They're
like?
like, "Stop the
They
rambling, you guys.
They
What
like
is
the
this
rambling,
channel?"
or they like the idea of less.
Less, I
rambling?
think.
Well, then let's
I think
give the people
less.
what they want, and
Yes.
let's give the people what they want.
All right.
Hey, everybody, we're so glad you're here. We are kicking off a 5-episode series. Actually, our last series was almost 5 episodes on the On Purpose Parent
yeah.
Strategy. But not very often do we do this long of a series. They're usually 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 2 or 3 episodes. But we've got a really cool little feature or a resource on our website. If you've not been to our website, onpurposeparents.com. If you go
Yep.
to onpurposeparents.com, there are tons of resources. The podcast is really
Amazing.
just one resource of dozens of resources that we like to offer parents at onpurposeparents.com. And one of the more popular that we never really talk about is what we have there under the category of 2-minute tips.
So brilliant.
And we've got like over almost 150.
Yeah.
2-minute.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that
Yeah,
many.
it's crazy.
That's
100,
a lot.
136 or something?
133.
133.
Oh, wow.
Is 133 almost 150?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Definitely.
It's
It
close.
does?
Yeah.
It's over 125.
Yeah,
We're
yeah. If you got to
rounding
round,
up by
if you got to
half,
round,
yeah.
you got to go. Yeah. Anyway,
You could actually say that we have
stop.
between 200 and 300 of those.
There you go.
One, not 200 and 300, 2 and 300.
why would I ever do that?
Well, I'm just saying. If you wanted it to sound like
Yeah, but
more.
no.
it's
That
legit.
that makes it sound like less. Between 2
Yeah,
and 300
between
means
2
it could
and
be,
300.
Yeah, but that means it could
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yes.
be. But no, between 200 and 300.
But when he's
No,
a
no.
play
You-
off of the word.
you
He's
say-
saying between 2, 1, 2.
So he's being technically honest, but he's being like,
Like
it's tricky. It's
he's
tricky.
being
We have between
2 and 300.
Yeah, between 8 and 900 of those. You could say that too. It's
Okay.
I see how
see.
producer Chris
I'll tell you
rolls.
what. Yeah.
I see
don't
how he
ever-
does his stats here.
Note to self. Don't ever have producer Chris teach on ethics, integrity. If you
Reporting of numbers.
don't ever buy a used car from Chris either.
Just shows how smart he is.
Producer Chris. Okay, guys. Well, here we are.
We're not supposed to do
We're not supposed to do this. 5 episode series. Each episode's going to be a little shorter theoretically. We're going to watch together one of our 2-minute tips. The 2-minute tips are 2 minutes from a parent on a topic. And what I've learned is some of these parents say more in 2 minutes than the 3 of us managed to say in 30.
I can't deny that.
So they're
it's so true.
they're jam packed with goodness. So we're gonna watch an episode, and then Grace and I, we're just gonna kind of comment and do some commentary. Here's what stuck out. Here's a couple examples. Maybe we've looked at them ahead of time. Maybe we haven't. What I mean by that is Grace has probably. I most certainly have not watched these ahead of time. And then that'll be the episode. And we're gonna do that 5 times.
I love it.
And we hope along the way, parents, that you'll visit onpurposeparents.com, dig around the 136 between 2 and 300, between 8 and 900 of our videos, and see if there's a topic that jumps
I
out.
love it. Yep.
Okay, Grace,
Let's
you want
do
to
it.
add to that before we jump in?
No, let's rock and roll and
Okay.
watch the first clip.
I'm Jeremy, I'm a parent, and this is my 2-minute tip. If I boil down the challenges of parenting into one simple nugget, I would say that parenting is about the tension between freedom and responsibility. You see, our children want freedom. They want to go where they want, when they want, stay up as late as they want, eat what they want, and so on. However, as parents, we want responsibility. We want them to make their bed, clean their room, feed the dog, do their homework, and listen to what we say. Now, when one party doesn't give in to the other, let's just say it doesn't always make for the happiest of times. Now, I'm going to make the case that perhaps you can both satisfy your child's thirst for freedom as well as teach them some responsibility along the way. You see, freedom and responsibility are not mutually exclusive. To have one, you must have the other. You know, to expect freedom without responsibility is a recipe for chaos. On the converse, to expect responsibility without freedom is oppressive. You really do need both. So here's my tip. If you want to see more responsibility from your child, give them some more freedom. Oftentimes as parents, we can be too quick to swoop in and save our kids. Truth be told, the best teacher for your child will be experience. And they can't experience anything if you don't give them a little bit of freedom. Now, of course, if there's a real risk of injury to self, others, or property at stake, then please step in. But my sense is that we can probably loosen up the reins just a little bit to help them learn and experience on their own. Now, I know this is a scary proposition. After all, giving your child some more freedom will also mean that they'll be more free to fail. They'll be more free to get hurt. They will be more free to do things in a way differently than you would do them. But here's the beauty of it. As they learn what the natural consequences of an action are, they will learn to regulate themselves and make more, dare I say, responsible choices.
So parents listening and watching, if you didn't catch the title of that 2-minute tip, the title of that 2-minute tip was Fostering Responsibility in Your Children. Grace, why don't you start with what are a few things that just sort of jumped off the page at you as you were watching that particular video, that tip?
Yeah. First of all, just echo what you said before. There's so much packed in this 2-minute tip in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
There were multiple angles that I feel like I want to think about and put into practice in my own parenting. So I love the 2-minute tips because it, like you said, so much jam-packed and it's so accessible. You just need 2 minutes. It's like when you're brushing your teeth. I loved Jeremy's encouragement to break the notion that responsibility and freedom are two separate things.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it that way before, but when he phrased it, I was like, oh my goodness, they are so interrelated.
Right.
But normally, when you just see the title, Fostering Responsibility in Your Child, my thought would go towards, you don't know what they're going to talk about, but maybe it's like
Consequences,
rules and like structure and
Yep.
something a little bit more rigid. But he took it a different angle that was really refreshing that says, no, freedom and responsibility are tied together so intricately tied together that you want to play with both. So it made me think about like the adjustments now we do with our technology, like when you're listening to audio on your phone, Bluetooth, and then you switch over to your laptop connection. Let's say you're on a meeting for work. This is front of my mind because this is happening to me like every day.
Sure.
Like the audio that I had on my phone, when I switched to the meeting on my laptop, I have to adjust it. I have to change the setting of the volume depending on where I'm at. And so it just made me think, as parents, it's not just about focusing on responsibility and then focusing on freedom, just completely black and white, as in like, I think sometimes it's easy for parents to put on a label because it's easier that way. Like, I'm the responsible parent. I'm someone who always follows the rule. Or I'm like a loose, fun parent. I'm someone who lets kids have fun.
Yep.
But in reality, they're like little knobs. Like sometimes you have to dial up leaning into providing a little more structure. And sometimes you have to dial that back and let the kids have a little more freedom.
I like
and just that concept of like, maybe you think of yourself as a dial as a parent versus trying to assume an identity of I'm responsible versus I'm fun and free.
I love that. And Grace, what you're hitting on is what happens in so many families is the mom or the dad, one wears one hat almost all the time, and the other one wears the other hat almost all the time. This is the fun parent. This is the rules parent. This is a parent who trusts me and gives me freedom. This is a parent who doesn't, right? And we get known for that, and then we wear those hats, and then it's not both of us as parents are sort of fine-tuning what does this scenario need more freedom, more responsibility, which child needs more or less of which, and we're kind of both thinking that. Oftentimes it becomes what does this situation call for? Responsibility. Okay, wife, you're better at that than me as the husband. What does this responsibility call for? Oh, some freedom and some fun and some learning through the school of hard knocks. Yeah. Well, who's better at that? Oh, okay, Dad, you're better at that, so this one's on you. As opposed to, and then what happens there is unintentionally, we begin to sort of like good cop, bad cop. The kid starts thinking, how can I use mom and dad against or to get what I want?
True.
Right? As opposed to, no, mom and dad are on the same page. Subconsciously, they wouldn't identify it this way, but that image of as parents, we have these two dials of freedom and responsibility, and we're together in every situation. We're fine tuning. I love that. I'm not sure if I have in the past done as good a job as Jeremy does explaining. They work together. They work. You can't have one without the other because old school, I'm older school is you earn your freedom through being responsible. The more I trust you, the more responsible you are, the more freedom you get. I think there is still some truth to that.
Yeah.
My generation probably had that particular dial cranked up too much.
Right.
As
In
opposed
every
to-
situation,
in every
without any kind
situation.
of, it's
In a-
always this,
Yes.
no matter what.
In every situation.
Right. And
Yeah.
I love the point that you're saying is maybe the one step that could help parents with this tip is just asking that question in each situation. Is this a situation where I do need to support my child with more structure
Right.
and maybe some more rules? Or is this a place where I kind of let go and say, okay, go try it, go for
Right,
it and
right.
see. And I think it'll depend, like you say, sometimes it's like the mom or the dad, because we're all personally geared towards maybe one. We
Right.
kind of lean towards one. Karis is very much a responsible. Karis is my 11-year-old, soon to be 12, first daughter, and then I have a 9-year-old second daughter. So just one of the things where I could see, I could see why even, this is an example for my kids, but how it can be hard as parents to let go of control. We watch AGT, America's Got Talent, as a family. That's a show we watch, and it's pre-recorded. So Karis has control of the remote control and can just skip over the commercials, and it's a thing to like end it right
Yes.
when and you don't want to go too far because you
Yep.
miss some of the intro, but she's really honed in and starting right. And if she goes too far, she'll go back, and we're like, it's okay if you miss like 30, but she'll. And so one time she went to the bathroom and Zoe picked up the remote and she was doing it. And when Karis came back, you could see her eyes being like, no.
You're going to get it wrong.
No. Let me stop. Let me do it. And then, we had to say, Karis, maybe let her try. If she messes up, what's
Right.
going to happen?
Right.
But just that image of like, sometimes as parents, we can see our kids doing something
Yes.
and it's like, no. Let me do it for you.
Yeah.
Or do
Yeah.
it my way.
Right.
Or do it, you're going to mess up. And that
Yeah.
kind of is something that we may have to let go in order to do
Yeah.
that dial
Yeah,
in
I
certain
like that.
situations.
Two more thoughts that jump out to me, and then I'll let you wrap
Yep.
this one up, because these episodes are meant to be a little bit shorter. In the spirit of the 2-minute tip, they're a
quick,
15-minute
pithy,
podcast.
powerful.
But two things. One is, I do think, like parents, this is, and you didn't get this from what Jeremy was saying, I don't think, but he wasn't suggesting that freedom is like there's no consequences
Right.
attached. The way I would maybe think about it is the higher the potential consequence if it goes wrong, the higher the consequence, maybe the less freedom you have. Right? So if the consequence is we're going to start the show 30 seconds late, then Zoe should have all kinds of freedom to experiment. If the consequence is you could fall off the cliff to your death, you probably cannot give them the same amount of freedom to experiment at the edge of the cliff, because the higher that you got to kind of weigh out, if the wheels fall off because of this level of freedom, what is the natural consequence? And then you can kind of adjust your freedom based on that versus just your own comfort level or your own. And then, excuse me. Another thought I was having is, obviously as your kids get older, the freedom should increase. And one of the ways maybe to think about it is, I think when your children are younger, you do need to be a little bit more rules based. The rules and the guidelines and all that is much tighter, because you're trying to there is an aspect of raising young kids where obedience matters. And rules matter, and right and wrong and black and white. Those are all like the foundations that we want to instill in our children. I think at some point, it might be around your kid's age, maybe a little, right? Early adolescent, junior high, you move from rules-based into what I would say is more of like values-based, right? Like when they're little, don't break these rules. As they get older, hey, don't violate these values, these principles. And there's a lot more room. The rules are a little bit fuzzy as long as the
So
principles and the values
Right.
aren't violated.
Yeah.
And what that does automatically, it gives them more freedom to kind of figure out what do I have freedom to do as long as I don't violate this really important value and principle that my mom and dad have put as part of our family.
And that's so powerful, because in reality, as they get older, you can't control every situation. In your home, you have certain set circumstances where you could say these rules apply.
Right.
But as they get older, and I am experiencing this with a middle schooler, almost middle schooler now, is, oh, what do you do in that situation when this friend does that or this group of friends act like this or that? You can't have rules for everything. There isn't always a
Right.
set answer for,
Right.
in this situation, this is the rule.
Right.
So I love that look. And I guess to close out this 2-minute tip episode, to just jump off what you were saying too, of being thoughtful about what the situation is and even the ages of kids, is I think being appropriate to the kids, your child's personality. And that could probably go with age as well, but sometimes it just might be personality. So
Right.
one thing I've learned is with Karis, my first, I did not have to be involved at all a lot with like schoolwork. She just was like, this is the homework I need to do. I'll do it. We used to send them on Saturday mornings to Korean language school. So once a week, 3 hours. It's like extracurricular. Karis would just handle whatever the homework did. I was just not involved. Involved in driving them and coming back. And with Zoe, recently she was crying during the week. She didn't want to go to school. And we're like, Korean school. And we're like, what's going on? She's like, it's Saturday morning and we're going to go, but I didn't do my homework. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know you had homework. Because again,
Right.
it's extracurricular.
Right.
But with someone like Zoe, I had given her all this freedom because that's what I was used to with Karis.
Yeah.
I don't need to be involved.
Right.
I don't need to
Right.
micromanage.
Right.
But with Zoe's personality, she does need more structure.
Yep.
She does need a little more, okay, let's have these rules to help you be responsible. And I will help guide you in this. And that actually, it's not like responsibility is like a mean thing.
Right.
It's like, oh, this is actually helping you. And when I did that, there was one week where we did it together. She was actually so happy. She needed that. She
Yeah.
needed some more structure. And
Yeah.
so, again, I think that just underscores what we were saying about the knob, being thoughtful,
Yep.
asking what stage is my child at,
Yep.
what age,
Yep.
what's appropriate, and what is my kid's personality, and just even asking that question. I think parents are way ahead in this theme of how to foster responsibility in your child.
Awesome. Well, everybody, hope that was helpful. As always, please like or comment in the comments in the YouTube video. If you're watching on YouTube, share this with your friends. You can subscribe. Parents, if you want just tips and ongoing encouragement, you can text the word parents to 83,000. And like we mentioned at the top of this podcast, on purposeparents.com, you will find all 136, all between 8 and 800 of our 2-minute tip, between
8 and 1
2 and
million.
300 of our 2-minute tip parent videos. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time around.
Have a great day.